We're so glad to be joined by the Hall of Famer, former White Sox outfielder, Tim Raines. Rock, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. You're down in Arizona. What has this last couple months been like for you?
It's been good. I've been having an opportunity to spend a lot of time with my family, my girls. Um, actually, we just started softball up again, so it's good to see that the girls can get out of the house finally and get to do some stuff that they like to do outside.
What do you miss most about baseball when baseball season's going on and there's no games?
I miss the games itself, being around the players. If we're talking about right now, I no longer play, so I feel good about, and I miss not being around the players. I do a little work in the minor league systems. I go see the players. I'm with them in spring training, and then I'm with them during the season. So, I get to travel. I haven't been able to travel. So that's the part I miss the most.
Who do you stay in touch with from those White Sox teams?
Obviously Frank. Frank. Me and Frank have been friends ever since we were teammates back in the day. We stay in touch, but it's not many other guys that that we're friends, but we just don't. We're not in touch as much as I am with Frank.
Right.
Bo Jackson, I see him from time to time. Lance Johnson, we talk, sparingly, but those are the guys that I talk to the most.
Gotcha. We've got some questions from season ticket holders that they wanted to ask you. They've been thinking about you as baseball's been missing. And why don't we start here with this one from Kyle O'Laughlin from Naperville, who sits down the baselines, who asked, who was your favorite teammate with the White Sox? I know you and Frank are close. Is he your favorite teammate with the Sox?
He's one of them. I feel like I was one of those guys that had a lot of favorite players. As you know, I came over from another organization. I came over from the Expos.
Right.
So, and I think during that time as well, Tony Phillips was on the team with us in Chicago. Me and Tony came up together in the minor leagues with the Expos. So after we played 1 year together in the minor leagues, he left and went to Oakland, and we, hadn't saw each other in a long time since he was in the American League, and we wasn't in the interleague play back in those days. So when I hooked up with the White Sox, I knew there was one guy on that team that I knew better than anyone else. Not that he was my favorite player, but we were really good friends. And we only played the 1 year together, but I got to get to know all those guys. I felt like the teams we had in the early 90s were at least the 5 years I was there, I pretty much got along with everyone. I don't know if there was anyone I didn't get along with. But Frank was one of those guys that, he was in his second year, I think. But he was coming on as a great player, and I felt like me being a veteran at that time that it was only fitting that I kind of show him the ropes, and we got along that way.
What did you do to show him the ropes? What's an example of what you taught him?
Well, how to conduct himself as a player, as a professional, as a major leaguer. Certainly he was a great player, and everyone knew that. But there was a lot of other things that came along with being that type of player. You start getting the fans, you start getting the media attention. As you know, he was, MVP, I think 2 years with the Sox. So a lot of times, when you're a young player and you're trying to establish yourself, I was there before. There's certain things you have to do to a few positive things you have to do to be a major league player. And it's not so much that, you have to be a leader or anything like that, but just, come to the ballpark where they play every day, play hard. And that was one of the things I tried to instill in him, that, when you come to the yard, you come to do the best that you can do every day if you can do it. And I think a lot of that rubbed off on him.
Well, we certainly saw that in his career and in your career, the way you carried yourself. This is from Beth in Cherryville, Indiana, who has season tickets down the third base line. She asks, what was your favorite stadium to play in?
That's a hard question. I look at baseball as a playground for me, and for me, going from stadium to stadium was just going to a different site, obviously at home, your home field was your favorite field. But as far as going on the road, there wasn't one stadium that I liked more than others. I just enjoyed playing the game. And if it took me to go to New York, it took me to go to LA, it really didn't matter. I think the keys being a major league player was being able to function outside of your home field. And I kind of enjoyed that. I kind of thrived on doing good things on the road, because if the fans are booing you when you're on the road, you must be doing something good.
That's right. You did something made them mad. That's for sure.
Exactly.
This is a question from Buzz Swartz, who's from Darien, Illinois, who sits in the outfield. It's an interesting question. He asked, who helped you with your Hall of Fame speech? Who contributed to what you said in your Hall of Fame speech?
Well, you know what? I was one of those guys who figured I didn't have to write anything down, even though I did write a few things down. I figured I'll go from the cuff, and I kind of got caught up in the middle of my speech. And not only that, the time limit they gave me was 15 minutes, but I saw guys going way over 15 minutes.
Way over.
So I'm like, should I do the 15 minutes, or could I go longer? And then all of a sudden, guy was telling me, okay, we got to go. People didn't see that. So I kind of cut it short. And I think I missed, if I had a chance to do it all over again, I'm pretty sure I would have wrote it down and got out what I wanted to get out. And unfortunately, I didn't really hit the mark that I really wanted to hit.
Well, we think you did a great job. I can't believe they were giving you the hook from the wings. They were telling you to wrap it up.
And that's what happens when you're the last guy. See,
yeah.
I wish they would have put me earlier so I didn't have to worry about all that stuff. And it's one of those things where it gets really emotional. Especially my parents was out in front, my kids were there, a lot of my friends from my hometown, high school friends, and baseball teammates back in the high school level. So. But it's definitely an experience that I would never, ever, ever forget. And I think that's the good thing about the Hall of Fame. Your first year getting in, I mean, it's a lot of stuff you have to do. You do more than anybody else that are there. The people that are already in can just chill out and watch you kind of go crazy about what's going to happen the day that you're inducted. So, but I get to do that now, so it's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. Your guys from Seminole High were there?
Yes. Actually, my high school coach was there, and a couple of my teammates was there as well. So that was pretty exciting.
This question from Brian in Normal, Illinois. He asks, what was your favorite memory with the Expos?
Actually, there was a lot of good memories. Actually, the one memory I remember more than anything else is my rookie season, even though we went on strike. But my rookie season, I remember having 50 stolen bases in the first 55 games, and we went on strike. So I kind of wish I got a do-over and got that year back because, I mean, even though I ended up, breaking a rookie record for stolen bases and missed, I think I only played like 79 games or something like that, 78 games. I think I had 82 games and I had 77 back. So I think, I came in second for Rookie of the Year. That was the year of Fernando mania. So I really didn't have a chance, even if I had a better year. But I remember that, and the year we went to the playoffs that year. We were a game away from going to the World Series. Rick Money hit a home run in the 9th or 10th inning to beat us to go to the World Series. They ended up winning the World Series, but I never got another chance to go back to the playoff as a player from that point on, and ended up being there, 11 years at that point. So, but when I left Montreal, I went to Chicago, which was a place that I felt like was perfect for me. That needed an outfielder. It was a perfect opportunity to get a chance to get into a playoff or maybe even a World Series or maybe even win a World Series. And that's pretty much the reason why I ended up going to Chicago.
How good was that 94 team that we never got to see finish the year?
Oh, my God. And it's ironic that, we think about that because I was on the Chicago team, and a lot of people think that I was with the Expos.
Right. No, yeah, so, you were with us.
I was with the White Sox, so people keep asking me, say, man, I wish you guys, could have went to the playoffs with the Expos in 94. You guys had the best team in baseball. I'm like, no, I wasn't on that team. I was on a team in Chicago that was probably better than that team in Montreal. So, but it would have been cool to have actually gotten the opportunity to go back. And, if we would have gotten the World Series, they would have gotten the World Series, the chance to go back to Montreal and maybe win a World Series in Chicago. But still, have the fans in Montreal see that they got a chance to go to the World Series.
This question is from John in Lake Zurich. He asks, if we need an inning or two in a pinch, can you still get after it in the outfield?
Well, I've got about 15, 20 feet after that. I might pull a hamstring or something.
Nice.
Other than that, if it's right at me, I can catch it. I don't know if I can run and jump over a wall. That might not happen. But at this time, I'd probably rather be a DH.
I think you could still swing it. I bet you could still swing it up there.
I tell you what, if I had the opportunity to swing the bat, and as a player, people think of me as a guy that stole a lot of bases and, did what I did in the outfield and on the base paths. But a lot of people don't know that I was a pretty good hitter. I mean, I was a clutch hitter. I drove runs in. And I enjoyed hitting more than I enjoyed doing anything else, being a switch hitter. But not only that, being up in the top of the lineup, being able to get up, do what I have to do at the plate. But then once I got on the bases, I felt like that was probably the most important thing to do as a player is once you got on base, try to find a way to score, because in baseball, if you don't score, you can't win. So, as you see today, base running isn't that prevalent as it used to be back in those days. But, it's not so much the stolen base that was important, but it was how you ran the bases, knowing what you do, when, go first to third, knowing when to go first to third, knowing when to score, when maybe there's a hard hit ball to the outfield and the guy has a great arm. You're going to challenge him or, you're going to make him throw you out. And that was kind of what made me feel happy about baseball because it wasn't just playing defense. It wasn't just hitting balls. It was the other little things that went along with the game that was important, just as important to me as all the other things.
Who taught you how to run the bases, Tim?
I think I got that from my dad. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to watch my dad play baseball. He never played professionally. He played semi-pro. So I got introduced to baseball watching him play. And, looking back at it, it reminded watching him play reminded me of the way I played. So I think I pretty much got it from my dad. He could fly. I mean, he had great speed. He played the outfield, and he was a really good hitter. So, you know, watching him play, even though I was a youngster, didn't really know what he was doing, but just watching him do the things that he did on the baseball field made me feel like, you know, that's what I want to do. I want to be just like him. And I took it from there. And I had a couple other brothers that played, and they were good players as well. So as a family, we pretty much grew up playing the game of baseball as well as all the other sports. But I think baseball was the sport that I think we enjoyed more than ever.
People need to realize you almost hit 300 for your career. You hit 294 over 23 years in the majors. That is not easy to do.
Well, I mean, I think that's what I said. You know, when they think of Tim Raines, they think of all the stolen bases. And I think you kind of forget about the other things that I did well. So, and that was kind of, as my career went on, I was trying to get out of that, you know, you're the fast guy, you know, you're the guy that steal all the bases. I didn't mind that, but I felt like it was more to my game than just the stolen base itself. And, you know, I tried to play the game the way it was supposed to be played. And I was kind of hoping that I kind of got out of that stereotype, like you're fast, you can steal bases, so go out and steal the bases.
Right.
If you look at my career, you look at the stats, you can see that, you know, I stole bases, but I also hit for power. I drove runs in. I wasn't one of those leadoff guys that if there was a guy on base with 2 outs, you know, they pitched to me, I took advantage of them pitching to me to drive in a run. And I love being at the plate when the game was on the line. I lived for that, you know, because I think in the backyards with my 2 brothers, we used to play. It was 3 of us. I played against the other 2, so I was in the middle. So I played against the other 2 brothers. So we kind of had that growing up, that, you know, clutch time, you know. And I watched baseball. I watched the guys that were the clutch players, and that's the way I wanted to be. And I felt like I was that way as a player.
What was your second favorite sport? You mentioned you played all the sports. What was right behind baseball, if there was one?
Well, seriously speaking, as I got older and football became the big sport where I grew up, I felt like I loved football more growing up. But once I got out of high school, baseball became the sport that I felt like I could take more advantage of. Even though I felt like I played both either way. I mean, I probably could have went anywhere. I did. I could have went anywhere I wanted to go as a football player. But I felt like if I gave baseball a chance, gave myself 2 or 3 years and see if baseball was the sport that I should be playing, and if it didn't work out, I had something to fall back on. I could have went to school and played football. So I am so fortunate and that I had the opportunity to be able to choose one, and fortunate that baseball was the one that chose me, and I enjoyed the career that I had.
Well, I always enjoy sitting down and chatting with you. And before I let you go, I do need to remind you that though you finished second to him in the Rookie of the Year, you were 316 against Fernando Valenzuela for your career, and you faced him more than anybody else.
Well, I knew, you know, I knew we were both rookies and we were both great players.
Yeah.
And I wanted to prove to everybody it wasn't just Fernando Mania. It was Raines in Canada that a lot of people didn't really know about. And but when we went head to head, I tried to prove to everyone that even though you guys don't know who I am or where I'm from, when we play the Dodgers, I'm gonna let you guys know that we got a good player in Montreal that maybe deserved to be Rookie of the Year or whatever, but I didn't get it. But and I didn't get the media attention that Fernando got from being in LA and being a Mexican out there in LA. And he was a great pitcher, you know. I mean, not take nothing away from him. But I've always felt as a player, most valuable players and things like that should go to an everyday player. The starting pitchers have their own awards. So when they start having pitchers getting MVP, I think something is wrong with that. But that's my own opinion. I'm not talking for anyone else. I'm talking about myself.
I love it. I love it. I'm looking at your numbers. By the way, before I let you go, you had 68 at bats against poor Rick Russell, and you had 30 hits against him. You were 441 against Rick Russell. Why are you wearing him out?
Hey, that's those sinker ballers trying to get out lefties, man. Sinker ballers cannot get lefties out, and you know, it became a problem because I was a high ball hitter as a left-hander, but for some reason, it's a difference between right-handed because he had a sinker that kind of came into right-handers but went away from left-handers, and that was right in my alley. And he tried to pitch away from lefties, and that's where I like the ball. So, well, he's the only one that I have a cycle against. I mean, I hit for the cycle against Russell, and the home run was the last one I needed late in the game, and I hit the home run. So, for some reason, I saw the ball well coming out of his hand.
He's got to be like, why are you leaving me in to face him again? He's already got all 3 against me.
And he drilled me too, though. He drilled me for being And I said, okay, I deserve that. But, you're still not going to be able to get me out. So after he hit me, I stole second and third and ended up scoring anyway. So, either way, you can hit me or I can get a hit. Either way, I'm going to be on base.
I'm going to score anyway. I love that. Rock, it's always such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
All right, my pleasure, man. Enjoy.